Welcome, good morning. Welcome to another session of this video class. In this video class, we will discuss about the vector atom model and the quantum numbers that are associated with vector atom model. Atomic model. What is an atomic model? Atomic model is, or atomic model says, how the subatomic particles are arranged together to give a stable structure to the nucleus, or how the electrons and the nucleus are arranged together to give a specific structure to the nucleus. This is what is known as the atomic model. In this series of atomic models, the first atomic model was proposed by G.P. Thomson. This is what is known as the Thomson's atomic model. This is also known as watermelon model or plums in pudding model. He said that like a watermelon, every atom acquires a spherical shape in which the positive charge is equally distributed or uniformly distributed throughout the nucleus, throughout the atom, or throughout the spherical atom uniformly. And like the seeds of the watermelon, the electrons will stay at different distance, at specific distances from each other. Okay, along this volume, along this positive charge. This particular model specifically says that both positive and negative charges are statically distributed. But since positive and negative charges, when they are said to be statically distributed, okay, they won't give any definite and specific structure to the atom. That's why this atomic model was not accepted by the scientists. Later, Rutherford proposed another atomic model which is known as the planetary atomic model. According to this model, Rutherford said that every electron revolves around the nucleus like the planets that will revolve around the sun. Therefore, according to this model, the electron will revolve around the nucleus in circular orbits or some orbits, and while they are rotating, the negatively charged electron will be attracted by the positive charged nucleus. He said that positively charged nucleus will occupy at the center, small region at the center of the spherically shaped atom, and around this nucleus the electrons are revolving. Therefore, negatively charged electrons are strongly attracted by the positively charged nucleus, and there is a possibility of spiral motion of the electron, and ultimately it will fall into the nucleus. Therefore, he is unable to explain this particular consequence of his proposal. Therefore, this particular model is also not accepted. But one thing is very specific and one thing is confirmed from this model, because he conducted an alpha ray scattering experiment, and by means of the experimental data, he confirmed that the positively charged nucleus will occupy at the center of the spherically shaped atom, and the volume of this nucleus is very small when compared with the volume of the atom. Right. Later, okay, Bohr proposed another atomic model which is known as the Bohr's atomic model. This is the first atomic model. Bohr's atomic model is the first successful atomic model which is based on three concepts. He said that all these things are known to you in your previous classes, that's why I will go through all the points at a certain speed. Okay, according to this model, every electron revolves around the nucleus in circular orbits, and the electrostatic force of attraction between the electron and the nucleus will provide the necessary centripetal force. And in his second proposal, he said that as long as the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in circular orbits, they never emit the energy and they never absorb the energy, and such orbits are known as the stationary orbits, and their angular momentum conserved as long as they are rotating around the nucleus in specific orbits. And in his third proposal or third concept or third postulate, he said that when electron transmits from one orbit to the other orbit, then only it will either gain the energy or lose the energy, and that particular phenomena will give the spectrum of that atom. And this is the first successful atomic model. Okay. Later, Sommerfeld proposed another atomic model, which is an extension for Bohr's atomic model, and he said that okay, electrons will also rotate around the nucleus in elliptical orbits. It is an extension for Bohr's atomic model. Right. Now, Bohr and Sommerfeld's atomic models are unable to explain so many questions that are there at that time. One, this Bohr-Sommerfeld atomic model is unable to explain the spectrum of atoms of multiple electrons. It is unable to explain the distribution of the electrons in different orbits. It is unable to explain the formation of chemical bonding. It is unable to explain the different intensities of the spectral lines. It is unable to explain the effect of the electrical and magnetic fields, okay, on the spectrum, that is the Zeeman effect and Stark effect. And it is unable to explain the fine structure of the spectral line. Fine structure of the spectral line means every spectral line will be a combination of small and faint spectral lines. In order to explain all these unanswered questions, it needs another atomic model, and that is what is known as the vector atom model. This vector atom model was proposed by Bohr, a team of scientists, Bohr, Sommerfeld, Uhlenbeck, Gauss-Smith, Pauli, Stern and Gerlach, in the year 1925. Okay. This is also the extension for Bohr-Sommerfeld atomic model. This is also the extension for Bohr-Sommerfeld atomic model. It means that the basic concept of the Bohr is also remains there in this model also. Right. I will give what is the core things that are there in for this atomic model and why it is known as the vector atom model. According to this model, they said that every electron revolves around the nucleus either in circular orbit or in elliptical orbit, but they will rotate only in some specific orbits. It means that electron orbits, rotationary orbits, are quantized. They are quantized both in magnitude and direction. They have only discrete orbits. They are not having continuous orbits. They are having only discrete orbits. Only in specific orbits of certain direction and certain magnitude, okay, they will rotate. This is what is known as the spatial quantization. And they also proposed that while the electron is rotating around the nucleus in the orbits, they also rotate around their own axis. That is, they have self-rotation. That is what is known as the spin motion. And they also said that, okay, they have certain spin orbits only. It means that their spin orbits are also quantized in magnitude and direction. Thus, they said that electron has two types of motions. One is the orbital motion and the other one is the spin motion. Both orbital motion and spin motion are having specific respect to orbits, or their orbits are quantized. Okay, in order to quantize their orbits, it needs two angular momentum vectors, orbital angular momentum vector and spin angular momentum vector. These orbital angular momentum vector and spin angular momentum vector are quantized with two quantum numbers. That's why this particular atomic model is known as vector atom model. And this is the essence of the vector atom model. Of course, now we will see these two postulates are concepts. Okay, here also. What is the first one? Spatial quantization. Spatial quantization is related to the quantization of the orbital motion of the electron. This was proposed by Sommerfeld. This is nothing but the quantization of orientation and magnitude of orbital motion of the electron or electron orbit around the nucleus. We know that according to Bohr's atomic model, electron revolve around the nucleus in circular orbits. Therefore, its radius is constant. From one orbit to other orbit, radius will changes. Therefore, it is having only 1 degree of freedom. Angle changes and 1 degree of freedom. And according to Sommerfeld, electrons revolve around the nucleus in elliptical orbits. Elliptical orbits means, its radius vector also changes and of course the rotational angle also changes. Therefore, it is having 2 degrees of freedom. But actually, when electron revolves around the nucleus in space, how many degrees of freedom it needs? 3 degrees of freedom. Okay, when some body is rotating in space, it needs 3 degrees of freedom. Therefore, it is having 3 parameters. Okay, that third parameter was proposed as the orientation of the orbit. The orientation of the rotational orbit of the electron. Therefore, according to the spatial quantization, electron rotates around the nucleus in some specific orbits. Orbits of definite magnitude and definite orientation. Thus, electron orbits are quantized. This is what is known as the spatial quantization. And due to the quantization of these orbits, they have only specific angular momentums. Certain specific angular momentums, not all, only certain specific angular momentums. Angular momentum is a vector quantity. Therefore, it needs some vector quantity to quantize the orbital motion. Similarly, spin quantization. This was proposed by Uhlenbeck and Goudsmit. They proposed that electron, while they are rotating around the nucleus or revolving around the nucleus in an orbit, they also rotate around their own axis. That is the self-rotation. That is what is known as the spin motion. They proposed the spin motion of the electron. Due to the spin motion of the electron, there are spin orbits. Again, the spin orbits are quantized. It means that electron spin orbits are discrete orbits. They have specific magnitude and specific direction only. Thus, they need another quantum number in order to quantize the spin angular momentum. Okay, these two quantum numbers are related to two types of vectors. One is the orbital angular momentum vector, the other one is the spin angular momentum vector. Therefore, this atomic model is known as vector atom model, or they named this atomic model as the vector atom model. Okay, right. This is the vector atom model. Very simple and very interesting. And according to this model, the electron has two kinds of motions. One is the orbital motion around the nucleus in specific orbits, and spin motion around itself. And this motion is also having specific orbits, not all orbits. Electron orbital motion is quantized, spin motion is also quantized. Right. With this hypothesis, okay, they developed 7 quantum numbers which are associated with the vector atom model. 7 quantum numbers which are associated with this vector atom model. Okay. What are these quantum numbers? Quantum numbers gives the arrangement of electron, or the state of electron in which it is, okay, laying, or in which it is presenting. For example, if you want my address, how can we say residing in India, there in the Andhra Pradesh, located in the West Godavari, in West Godavari in Nedavolu, he is there in SVRK Government Degree College. Likewise, there are step by step, okay, lines of address will be there. Similarly, quantum numbers associated with vector atom model also gives the address, location, or state of the motion of the electron. Actually, these quantum numbers are 4 plus 3. 4 quantum numbers are, okay, the main quantum numbers that will locate the electron, or that will give the address of the electron. The other 3 quantum numbers arises due to some certain special conditions. That's why we are discussing about 7 quantum numbers, that is 4 plus 3 quantam numbers that are associated with the electrons in order to specify an electron in an orbit, or in order to know the address, or in order to locate an electron, or in order to, okay, study its state of motion around the nucleus. The first quantum number is principal quantum number. It is represented with the letter n. It will use the main orbit in which the electron is revolving. Okay, it is nothing but the main orbit used in the Bohr and Sommerfeld theories. Right? N can take only positive integer values. That is equal to, n is equal to, okay, 1, 2, 3, so on, infinity. N is equal to 1 is known as the K shell, K orbit. N is equal to 2 is known as the L orbit. N is equal to 3 is known as the M orbit. N is equal to 4 is known as the N orbit, and so on. Therefore, N is represented with either 1 or 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or KLMN, etc. and etc. These are the main orbits of what is this one main quantum number, or the principal quantum number. By means of principal quantum number, we can able to know the energy of electron in an orbit. Energy of an electron in an orbit of hydrogen. Here the formula is for hydrogen. In an orbit of hydrogen is given by minus 13.6 by n square electron volts. Suppose when once it is multiplied with z square, you can get the energy of an electron, energy or energy of an orbit of any element with this formula. This is for hydrogen. If you want to the energy of first orbit, or energy of the electron in the first orbit, you can put n is equal to 1. Then once n is equal to 2 is substituted, you will get the energy of the second orbit, or energy of the electron in the second orbit. Likewise, you will get to energies in hydrogen atom, and this is for for all atoms. We can also have the radius of the orbits by means of this formula. Radius of any orbit of the hydrogen is equal to 0.529 into n square angstrom units. This may be extended for other atoms also. Only the thing is there is Z in the denominator. If you put n is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on, you will get the size or the radius of the first, second, third, fourth and fifth orbits of the hydrogen. Thus, it will give the energy as well as the radius of the orbit. And if you want to know the total number of the electrons in a shell, in a main shell, it will be obtained by means of 2n square, the formula 2n square. If you put 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, you will get the total number of the electrons that are available or that can accommodate to the first two main shell, the first main orbit, the second main orbit, the third main orbit, and the fourth main orbit, and etc. and etc. Right. The other quantum number is orbital quantum number L. Orbital quantum number is about the orbital motion of the electron. This quantum number defines the shape of the electron orbit. And of course, this is for orbital motion. It is denoted with the letter L. And L can take the integer values from 0 to n minus 1. It will give the suborbit. If L is equal to 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, L will take 0 also, 0, 1, 2, 3. The corresponding suborbitals are sp, df, so on, so on. Right. This is about the orbital motion. In order to quantize the orbital motion, they put forward orbital quantum number L. Therefore, orbital angular momentum of the electron PL is equal to this L into h by 2 pi, where h by 2 pi is the quantum of orbital angular momentum. That is the quantum. If you multiply 1, you will get the orbital angular momentum in first orbit. If you put L is equal to in the second orbit, and so on, so on. Right. This is about the orbital quantum number. The third one is spin quantum number. Very clearly, this is for the quantization of the spin motion of the electron. In order to quantize the spin motion or spin orbit of the electron, they propose spin quantum number. It is denoted with the letter S. And it will take either plus half or minus half. Plus half or minus half, because spin means the electron spin may be clockwise or anti-clockwise. Clockwise spin is half, the anti-clockwise spin automatically becomes minus half. Right. Now, spin angular momentum Ps of an electron will be now Ps is equal to S into h by 2 pi. S is the spin quantum number. Therefore, this quantum number is nothing but a quantum number in order to quantize the spin motion or in order to express the spin angular momentum of the electron. These two are the two vectors, L and S. When an electron possesses orbital motion and spin motion, that is orbital quantum number and spin quantum number, they are vectors. Their addition is also another vector. That is what is known as the total angular quantum number. These two vectors, simultaneous position of these two vectors or simultaneous existence of these two motions and these two vectors results another vector, which is the vectorial addition of L bar and S bar. Therefore, vectorial addition of L bar and X bar will give another quantum number, that is the total angular quantum number. Therefore, total angular quantum number J is equal to L bar plus S bar. Here plus is the vectorial addition. Vectorial addition means by magnitude J bar will become L plus S or L minus S. When they are parallel, of course, you will get L plus S. When they are anti-parallel, you will get L minus S. and J will takes minus L to plus L. How many values it will takes? 2L plus 1 values. And total angular momentum Pj now becomes J into h by 2 pi. Thus, okay, these are the four basic quantum numbers that will express the location, or that will give the address, or that will describe the location of the electron when it is rotating around the nucleus, either in circular orbit or elliptical orbit. What are these four quantum numbers? One is the principal quantum number n, the other one is the orbital quantum number L for orbital motion, third one is the spin quantum number S, this is for spin motion of the electron, and the fourth one is the total angular quantum number, which is the vectorial addition of L bar and S bar. Okay, right. Now there are three more quantum numbers that are needed in order to explain the fine structure of the spectrum given by an element, or in order to explain the Zeeman effect, in order to define the Stark effect, in order to define the Paschen-Black effect, and etc. and etc. That is nothing but the influence of magnetic field and electrical field on a spectrum. In order to explain the influence of the electric and magnetic field on the spectrum, we need three more quantum numbers. Okay, that's why that is the need of proposal of these three quantum numbers. Okay, that is, one is the fifth one, or the out of the second group, the first one is magnetic orbital quantum number. Magnetic orbital quantum number. Okay, suppose let this is the magnetic field. When magnetic field applied on this atomic system, okay, orbital motion electron is it behaves like a small tiny bar magnet. Therefore, orbital motion electron or magnetic field will be deflected by the presence of the external magnetic field. Therefore, it will deflect by making an angle theta. Okay, the projection of this L on H bar, that is M bar. What is the projection? This is the projection of L bar on the magnetic field. That is what is known as the ML. Therefore, ML is L cos theta. ML is L cos theta. And this will explain the Zeeman effect and Stark effect. And as I said just now, this will give the explanation for the effect of magnetic field and electrical field on the spectrum. And this ML is, okay, what is the ML value? ML is equal to L cos theta. And ML will take minus L to plus L, including 0. Therefore, it is having 2L plus 1 values. How many values it is having? 2L plus 1 values. And this is the effect of external magnetic field on its orbital motion. Then automatically or similarly, we have the spin quantum number also will be influenced by the external magnetic field, or the spin motion of the electron also influenced by the external magnetic field. Therefore, you will get magnetic spin quantum number. This is very similar to this one also. Okay, S is also deviated from external magnetic field by making an angle theta. Therefore, MS will be S cos theta. This is the effect of the magnetic field, external magnetic field on the spin motion. Okay, now MS will take 2S plus 1 values. Okay, right. Okay, and S never becomes 0, therefore MS also, okay, it will be also given by the values minus 2S plus 1 values. Therefore, this spin quantum number, magnetic spin quantum number is the effect of magnetic field on the spin motion of the electron, or spin quantum number of the electron. Right. Therefore, because of the applied external magnetic field, L will be affected and you will get ML, magnetic orbital quantum number, and S will be affected and you will get magnetic spin quantum number. Again you have ML and MS. These two are also two vectors. Therefore, their addition is also gives, their vectorial addition is also gives another quantum number, that is what is known as magnetic total angular, okay, quantum number. Magnetic total angular quantum number, MJ. Very clearly this is nothing but the vectorial addition of ML and MS. Okay. When ML and MS are arised due to the applied magnetic field, okay, existence of these two quantum numbers or these two vectors automatically results in another vector which is the resultant of ML and MS. Therefore, MJ is equal to, what is MJ? MJ is equal to, okay, ML bar plus MS bar. Here plus means the vectorial relation of ML and MS. And it possesses 2j plus 1 values. Here you are able to, you can able to see here 2j plus 1 values, and from minus j to plus j, and the total number of values are 2j plus 1. It means that, okay, due to the application of strong magnetic field, each electron orbit splits up into 2j plus 1 sub-levels. What is the thing here? Due to the application of strong magnetic field, each electron orbit splits up into 2j plus 1 number of sublevels. Due to this kind of effect, due to this kind of splitting up of this main orbit into, okay, a number of components, you can able to get to 2 or 3 lines in Zeeman effect and more lines in the Stark effect. In order to explain the Zeeman effect or Stark effect or the fine structure or the nature of splitting up of spectral lines due to the presence of external magnetic field, it needs a set of 3 quantum numbers in the presence of external fields. These 3 quantum numbers are ML, MS, and vectorial relation of ML and MS, that is MJ. Thus, there are 7 quantum numbers with a configuration of 4 plus 3. 4 the basic quantum numbers, 3 the quantum numbers that are arised due to the presence or due to the application of external fields. Thus, these 7 quantum numbers describe the motion of electrons completely, or locates the electron motion of electron completely, or it will give the address of the electron, okay, while it is rotating around the nucleus in specific orbits. That's why these 7 quantum numbers and the concept of the vector atom model, okay, can able to explain all the observable things as far as all the observations that are made in the experiments as far as the nature of the atom is concerned or the properties of atom is concerned. Till today also, this vector atom model is the atomic model that can able to explain all the things. Of course, due to the development of wave nature of matter, that is matter waves, okay, wave atomic model was developed. But this wave atomic model is a simple, what is this one, extension, a small extension for this model. But the total basis is vector atom model. Okay, right. This is about the vector atom model and the quantum numbers associated with vector atom model. Thank you. See you.